If you're someone who wants to own investment property in your 20s, stick around because I'm going to be dropping a lot of secrets that helped me buy a lot of properties. But not only that, some of those I was able to close without any of my own money. Buying a property in your 20s can be very exciting to think about, but it can also be a little daunting. Can you really do it? Is it really possible? Well, I have some good news. A lot of younger people are getting more conscious about their financial future, and they're trying to figure out how they can actually retire early and become wealthy before they're too old to enjoy it. Because of this desire, you're seeing a lot of younger people start on one of the best journeys life can provide, and that's investing. Yes, it is possible to buy and own your own real estate in your 20s. I've bought multiple properties through different partnerships. In fact, in my 20s, I was able to close over 400 units, either by myself, with partners, or through joint ventures. But why should you buy a property in your 20s? Can't you enjoy life now and just begin investing a little later? And what are some of the things you must know and do before you buy the property? And what are some challenges you may face as you're investing? So back to my question earlier, can't you just enjoy life first? Isn't it too restricting and boring to work on your finances at such a young age? It doesn't have to be, but probably the best way to communicate that to you is to tell you why you actually have an advantage starting so early. So I would assume you have fewer commitments and you can also take bigger risks. If something goes wrong, you have more time to recover from it, you can learn from it, and then you can go do it again, but better. When things go right, again, you have more time for that investment to compound, and so it has a chance to get even bigger than it would have if you would have started later. When you get older though, responsibilities start to get thrown at you. You might have to slow down, you might be taking care of someone, you might not get to take the same risks you could have taken if you would have started earlier. And even worse, you may forget about investing altogether, which is scary considering the median net worth in the US for someone over 65 years old is only $251,000, which means you're definitely going to have to work a part-time or maybe even full-time job just to make sure you have enough money coming in to survive each month. So number two, and this is kind of obvious, if you start earlier, you can reach financial freedom earlier. Imagine yourself in the future having enough passive income to cover all your monthly expenses. Can you picture that? That's one of the things I pictured at the very beginning that got me excited about investing because I didn't want to have to work a regular job forever. Even if you're not trying to quit your job, but you start investing, even if you just get to the point where it doesn't pay all your expenses, but it's bringing in extra monthly cash flow, you're gonna be able to reach your financial goals sooner. Or at the very least, you can fund a vacation from the job so you can take a break every once in a while. And what's great about owning a property is if you bought correctly and you ran your numbers right, the longer you own the property, the more money you could make. Always keep in mind the basic investment rule. The earlier you start, the longer your investment has time to compound, which means the higher your return could be. So the wealth you can generate from real estate investment looks amazing, right? But we can't ignore the challenges. One of them being, how the heck do I get the money to buy one? Buying a property is expensive. How can you afford it? So first I'm going to give you some practical tips on straightening up your financial house, and then from there we'll go into how you actually invest. Practical tip number one, renew your financial status. So I don't listen to Dave Ramsey very often when it comes to financial advice. However, one thing he definitely has right is to build an emergency fund first. A lot of stress is involved with investing, so knowing you have a cushion just in case something goes wrong is essential. And then secondly, start building your credit. Now, credit isn't something you definitely have to have really good right now to be able to invest, but we want to be working on it starting now. The way I got started with credit was by simply going to my bank and getting a secured credit card. Basically, I put money in and that was my limit for the credit card. And I didn't really spend much money on it. I just bought gas throughout the month. I made sure my usage was low, that way they knew I was responsible with money. And over a couple years, my credit score went all the way up into the 800s just from doing that. So if you're starting without credit at all, this is a great way to start. And then if your credit isn't so great, you can always use this strategy to start building it up. After you've reviewed your financial status, it's time to go research where you're going to get the capital from. I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume you don't have enough cash to close a whole property in your bank right now. But even if you have a lot of liquid capital available to you right now, there's a good chance you're going to get a loan to buy your investment property. Here's a few different ideas of where to get the money to close your first deal. One, you could go to a bank. Go figure. If I want money, go to where the money is, right? This is the money source where your credit score is going to come in the most handy. A bank is going to want to see strong employment history, so this is one you need to do only if you've been working at your job for a couple years. The bank is also going to ask for pay stubs, tax returns, and a bunch of other documents. The process can be a little tedious, but the bank is typically going to give you a better rate in terms than some of the other money sources I'm going to show you later. Now, don't worry if you don't think you qualify for a bank loan, because there are other options. Our capital source 2 is hard money. Hard money lenders are professional lenders, but they're not a bank. Money from a hard money lender is almost always going to be more expensive, so it's going to have a higher rate and higher fees than if you went to a bank. So if hard money is expensive, why would we use hard money? There's actually a few really good reasons to use hard money. Oftentimes, investment properties need a lot of work when you purchase them, and banks don't really like to lend on properties like that. When this is the case, hard money is a great way to go buy the property, use hard money to fix it up, rent it out, and then you'll go refinance that into a bank loan for the long term. The good thing about hard money lenders is a lot of them don't really take your credit score into account the same way that a bank would. So if your credit needs work, or you haven't had credit for very long, or maybe you have no credit at all, a hard money lender can be a great option in this case. And then number 3, private money. Now, this is my favorite way to get money to purchase a property. There's a good chance you already know someone who has a lot of money that isn't making money in an investment right now, or at least not much. If that's the case, and you found a really good deal, you've actually provided an opportunity for them to put their money to work. We're gonna dive way more into detail in future videos about how to raise private money, but here's a book that really helped me at the beginning with raising private money. It's called Raising Private Capital by Matt Faircloth. I highly recommend you go pick this book up from Barnes & Noble or Amazon or wherever books are sold, because it's going to help you see that the money to close deals is literally everywhere. Now that we found out where we're getting our capital from, it's time to research the market. Where you buy may be more important than what you buy in real estate. Your current city may be a great place to invest, or you may have to look elsewhere for your first investment. Here are some of the things I look for in a great market: population growth, job diversity, and vacancy rates. So population growth, I want to make sure a lot of people are wanting to move to the particular city that I'm investing in. Job growth, same thing with companies. We want companies to be moving in, companies to be expanding. We want to know that lots of jobs are being created in the market that we're in. Now, job diversity is not the same as job growth. It's the type of jobs that are in a market. There are some markets that only have one main driver, say like an oil town. If the oil price crashes, then you have to worry about rents crashing, and that might not be the best investment. I like to be in a city that has lots of different industries. I currently invest in Huntsville, Alabama, and a few of the reasons I like it is because it has manufacturing jobs. Toyota and Mazda just announced a plant where they're going to bring 5,000 jobs to the area. So manufacturing. There's aerospace. There's a lot of high-tech industries, so new technologies. There's a lot of government jobs and government contracts, and there's also universities. So there's a lot of different types of jobs, and that creates safety in a tough environment. Because there are so many different industries, that creates a more safe environment to invest in, because if one industry goes down, you still have all these other types of jobs keeping people employed, keeping the market growing. Now that you've done your market research, it's time to think about your buying strategy. So there's a lot of ways to invest in real estate. Which one are you going to choose? Are you going to do rentals, short-term rentals? Are you going to do fix and flips? Are you going to buy apartments? Are you going to be doing a lot of renovation? Or are you going to be buying properties that don't need too much and you're just putting a renter in? Knowing your purpose for getting into investment is going to help you decide which properties make the most sense to buy. Do you want a residential one? A commercial building? I talked about the different types of real estate in my last video, so after you're done watching this, you may want to go watch that as well. Having a clear goal of where you want your investing to take you is very important. It may seem intimidating and scary now, but just remember this: there's a lot of people buying property in their 20s right now, and there's no reason you can't too. As you gain experience, you'll see that it can actually be pretty simple to build your real estate empire. So that's it for today, but don't forget to take action and follow some of these tips that I've mentioned. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Stay tuned for more real estate investment tips, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, share this to anyone you know who wants to build wealth through real estate. I'll see you in the next video.